Dear viewers all over the world, this is Go Against the Tide TV channel, the voice of patriotic biblical Christians from Poland. We are a dynamically developing community of Polish patriots and Christians. We've been broadcasting since 2008 in Polish. For the last 2 years, we've been transmitting live with 30,000 viewers per day, and now we are starting a new TV channel for all those of you who don't speak Polish, but would like to know the truth about what is really going on in Poland. We will expose fake news about Poland. We will tell you who is who in our country, and we will work hard to make Poland great again. You probably never heard of these two men, but I'm sure they will very soon be frequent guests in your homes. Let me introduce them. Mariam Kovarsky, one of the most popular online political commentators in Poland. He is a fiercely anti-communist, patriotic conservative who ran for presidency in Poland in 2015. All his life, he has been fighting against political correctness. He now opposes the idea of New Silk Road, which could spell the domination of communist China over the entire world. And Paweł Chojecki, the most popular pastor in Poland, the founder and editor-in-chief of Go Against the Tide TV. He is well known for combining the message of the Bible with patriotism, politics and economy. A reformer and a politician, he is hated by those who hate the gospel of Jesus Christ. But he isn't bothered by that at all. These two are an explosive blend. This is the first project of this kind in Poland since the times of the Reformation in the 16th century. We want to put Christianity back into politics. Our motto is God, honor, fatherland. I need to add here that they both supported Donald Trump and believe in his victory, despite the fact that almost no one in Poland believed in Donald Trump's success. We believe that Donald Trump will make America great again. And with God's help, we aim to make Poland great again too. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, welcome again to Make Poland Great Again. My name is Ivan Belostenko. You're watching our program with our almost, I wouldn't say steady guests, but nearly getting there. The second program with our guests, Resistant Chicks, Leah and Michelle.
Hi.
Hello.
We are so happy to be here with our fellow Polish patriots.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. We're also very honored to have you with us. With me in the studio we have Pastor Paweł Chojecki, our editor-in-chief of Go Against the Tide, our head researcher and TV presenter, TV news presenter, Cezary Kłosowicz. His debut on our English channel. And
not
pastors,
debut in English.
but not only in English debuting. And of course, pastor's daughter Cornelia Chojecka is with us as well.
Hello.
So today's topic, or today's title for the program is Poland and how Americans and the English Western world sees Poland and how Poland really is. So we will speak about how you see Poland, and then we'll go into some interesting insights, let's put it this way, that will probably make some jaws drop. So I think before we start, maybe a good thing to start with is the article from John Birch. Society.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah.
So I understand you read it, yes?
Yes, we did, and
Yes.
we were really encouraged.
Yeah.
To hear, and we are very well aware of the John Birch Society.
Yeah.
They're kind of a pillar and cornerstone for patriotism here in the United States.
And for uncovering lies in the deep state and things like that. So we were excited to see them write an article, and it was so well written. It was very concise, and it gave an overview of Polish history and just kind of hit some of the highlights that many Americans, I would say most Americans,
Yeah.
don't know. they don't know that, maybe I would say more people know that now that Poland held off the Ottoman Turks, thanks to the European Muslim invasion. So a lot of patriots are learning that part of history.
Right.
So thank you, Poland, for that. But for the rest of Polish history, we don't know. We didn't know in the article. I did not know that Hitler and Stalin had made a deal for Poland.
No.
And I didn't know that the Americans pretty much gave Russia Poland. At the end, I didn't know. We watched some movies now, some Polish movies, that you've had some freedom fighters and you've had some patriots throughout the years who have fought and fought and fought and fought, and always hoping that the Americans would come. And I loved at the end of the article, which said that you guys were a remnant of those Polish freedom fighters.
And that despite the amount of times that the Americans have betrayed you, you're still, holding out hope and remaining an ally, which I find really heartening.
Because I believe that you know, as well as we know, the heart of the people,
Yeah.
the heart of the patriot Americans, when they find out that our government could have come in and stop this stop this communist invasion. I mean, we went into North Korea. We went into Vietnam to stop communism. Why wouldn't we band together with people of the same mind,
Same face.
same faith, and stop communism in Poland? But it was, I'm guessing, deep state, oligarchs. It was a deal. It was a blood deal. It had to be a money deal of some sort with Stalin there. So
I was really proud of the John Birch Society for the article that they put together,
Yeah.
showcasing not just Polish history, but you guys and the work that you're doing as well.
The great thing about the John Birch Society is they don't necessarily operate in conspiracy theory. They tell us the things that are true in history when things went awry,
Yeah.
went off track. And I believe that we are at a moment today where we can get things back on track. And we are getting the word out. You guys, I know you're always tweeting out to Jack Posovic. There's a lot of patriots who are trying to get the word out on Poland. Nigel Farage mentions Poland in the EU Parliament.
Yes, he
Hello,
did.
you're on the radar.
Yeah. Very
Right?
exciting.
So I knew a little bit about the communist judges just because the EU wanted to punish Poland for trying to get rid of your communist judges.
Mm-hmm.
I say, axe them all, like fire them all. That makes perfect sense. Why would you have communist judges? It makes no sense. It's like having, it's like having Nazi judges, right? Why would you keep a Nazi judge? Why would you keep a communist judge?
Yeah.
And I see that you are coming out of communism, but you never wanted it, right? So in Russia, they're coming out of communism too. But a good portion of those people wanted communism. So it's
Right.
a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
You guys didn't want it. It was forced upon you. And so it's going to be easier, obviously, to throw off. But still, what you guys are doing with the gospel of Jesus Christ, opening people's eyes, only the gospel of Jesus Christ can overthrow communism. Because communism is about a black hole of Christianity. Communism creates voids in people's hearts and empties their souls. And if you can fill their souls, you can set people free right and left.
Well, and that's what Ivan had tweeted out, I think, to Jay Sekulow.
Right,
Correct?
right.
Pretty much that same sentiment. You
Right.
have to have.
The gospel of Jesus Christ. You were
gospel of
talking
Jesus
about
Christ.
lefty California. And in America, we've become what you call lukewarm with our Christianity. It's too easy to be a Christian in America, right? And so, like you tweeted out, these communists make little inroads into like the social justice areas, but they don't realize, and Christians don't realize how satanic it is and how it's the devil trying to, suck people down into his black hole. And the devil comes with different masks. He comes with a mask of Hitler. He comes with a mask of Karl Marx. He comes with a mask of Chairman Mao in China. He comes with different masks, but it's the same devil. It's the same ploy. And the great news for Christians and what you're doing in Poland is that the gospel of Jesus Christ is the antidote to every evil. It will destroy every evil. And if you might have a martyr here and there, it will only plant a seed to grow more, right? But you've got to have that gospel deep inside of you where I've seen that you've I saw that you're talking about the second commandment with the Catholic Church there and the idols, things like that. You've got to get the truth out there. So our little background went up. I see it.
Okay, so I see that you very good understand now why we are so glad, so happy that American army came to Poland last year.
Yes. I didn't know about that either.
Yes, it was a dream of this our soldiers which fought communism after the Second World War II for 15 years, and they were waiting, and they were killed. But now your troops are in Poland, united with ours. So it's very good time.
That is very exciting. I'm hoping that they. What is their reason for being there? Do you know?
The threat from Russia.
Okay. Okay.
When they arrived here, the previous Minister of Defense was still in, but unfortunately, at the moment he's not in, and he's not even in a position to do really anything that can stop the way the government is operating at the moment, and that's actually a good way to I don't know, do you want to, how far do you want to go? Do you want to go back in time? How far? Probably you should keep it to like 100 years.
Maybe one another information about these wars. The first invasion of communist army was in 1920.
Yeah.
And, the communists with Lenin, the Red Army, would like to conquer whole Europe. And in this time, Warsaw was the place when they need to come back to their Asian place.
Yes. So that war was won by Piłsudski, and what is called what initially started as First Kadrowa. I don't really know how to translate that. It's the beginning of the formation of the Second Republic of Poland's army. It was only
120 people.
Yeah, only 120 people.
Young people. From,
Yeah, so it's
that's a small band.
Yeah.
Like Gideon's army.
They started an army which for 4 years was 1 million soldiers army.
In 4 years.
Wow.
And from that war, we can. Do you want to mention anything else apart from that? Maybe our researcher will.
Caesar, maybe.
Yeah, it was after Poland was divided between three countries. We were taken by Germans, Russians, and Austrians in the south. And during the First World War, Piłsudski created this first small army, and through the war and through some diplomats, we regained our independence. And in 1918 and in 1919 and 20, we had the first war with the Soviet, with Bolsheviks. They wanted to conquer Europe, but we stopped them near Warsaw, and so it was one of the greatest battles in Poland's history, and probably one of the most important, because we stopped communism from coming to Europe. It was an interesting fact that Piłsudski told to send the Bible text to the Russians because our agents were able to crack their communication, to get into their communication, and they asked, well, what will we send them? and he took the Bible, sent them this. And they will, through the radio, through the telegraph, emitting the text of the Bible.
That is fantastic. Wow. We watched
gives me goosebumps.
We watched that in the movie.
Right.
How they just read the Bible. And I thought, I got goosebumps when I watched it. I didn't know that. That's the kind of history that they've omitted in American history. They rewrote our history books in the early 1900s to take out those amazing godly moments, right? Because when children especially are learning history, and they can feel the Spirit of God, and in those kind of moments, like, I can feel the Spirit of God. And if you were to teach that to children, it gets into their spirit, it gets into their souls.
It would catch like fire.
And they're like, that's a God I want to follow.
So I'm curious, is this something that is taught in your history?
I wasn't taught about it at school.
Yes.
So there you go. Same exact thing happening.
It's very interested that in the Catholic country, our chief commander Piłsudski was a Protestant, Lutheran. So it's why he used the Bible to Red Army.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, the Catholics have a unholy alliance with communism on different levels. I wouldn't say all of them, but certainly there's some crazy things going on in China right now, where they're letting communist priests take over, and so it's with the Jesuits and things. So there's I think there's a lot of communist sympathizers within the Catholic hierarchy. So it makes sense that he would be a Protestant to read the Bible.
So how long did this Bible reading go on?
A few days.
Wow.
during the main battle, because it was important to shut down Russians officers. They didn't know what is going on, and Polish army have a very successful maneuver. And they winged the whole Red Army near Warsaw from two sides and crushed them.
Wow. That is amazing.
That's a really powerful story.
That is so powerful. Now, a little bit of history, maybe you can expound upon for our viewers and for other Americans, that I learned was, as a result of that moment, Stalin was angry, right? He was put off by Poland for stopping his Red Army. So when the Nazis were marching, correct me if I'm wrong, when the Nazis were marching again on Warsaw, the Americans and the English wanted to land some planes in Russia to give you help, but Russia wouldn't let them. And I guess Churchill said to the Americans, just go ahead and see what happens, see what Russia does. But from what I understand, it was Stalin was so, offended that you wouldn't let him invade your country in the 20s, that when it came time to defend you from Nazi Germany, who at that time Russia was fighting, they would not defend you, and they allowed Warsaw to fall to the Nazis. Is that a correct line of history there?
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
And there is some American very important marks in this history, because your President Wilson, in this time was a very big friend of Poland, and he insists to have free Poland after the First World War. And the second connection with states, there was a lot, because many Polish people from US came to Poland to fight, but some Americans came to fight too, and they were pilots, and it was the first escadron in Polish army and squadron, and Americans helped us near Lwów on the east to stop Bolsheviks.
Yes, that was in 1920.
Yes, in the...
That is a piece of history that's just amazing.
Yeah.
So after that war and the time that passed between that and the Second World War, which is, do you want to just briefly give us your insight on that and how after the beginning of the Second World War, or maybe a little bit before that, what happened with Russia and the naivety of Polish government, that they were sort of quite similar to what they are today, you know, promoting neutrality and saying that if we're going to be neutral and not going to be strong, nobody's going to attack us, and then they end up being attacked. Maybe, Cesar, do you want to take that one?
Before Second World War, there was an idea to attack Germany before they attack us, but we didn't do it. Piłsudski, before he died, he said to his people, don't go into the war as the first. And they didn't listen to him. We were the first to fight. We had some treaties with Great Britain and France, but that they will help us, but which they didn't. But the Germans and the Russians had their own treaty to attack us from both sides, and that's what happened. And Poland didn't, I mean, Polish government didn't foresee it, or I know, they acted probably in the most naive or stupid way, because they let everyone attack, you know, they let us be attacked from both sides and didn't get help from anyone at this time.
This treaty between Hitler and Stalin was secret, and Russia impressed us that she is niezdolna, unable to fight, but it was a lie.
Okay.
Wow.
And that treaty is Ribbentrop-Molotov.
Yeah.
We have a hashtag now which we call Ribbentrop-Molotov 2.0. Or just 2, because you can put the dot, but it's basically the current sort of unspoken of friendship between Russia and Germany. It still exists. They sometimes pretend to be not so good friends, but we judge them by their deeds, and it's quite clear that they are together. And actually, Pastor Paul was speaking about it today on today's show, that Germany is going to pretend to be a Western nation, that they're going to be, supporting Donald Trump and U.S., but that's going to be up until a certain stage, after which they will betray, and that's all, of course, biblical. Do you want to just maybe give us an answer in English?
The whole history for few centuries saw us that Germans and Russians are in close cooperation in Europe. So why it now be changed? So I think that Germany play their game, and in the decisive moment they will betray West side.
So before we actually come back to the topic, which is how Poland is viewed in US and the English-speaking world today, is there any crucial background that we need to understand, how we ended up being the way we are in Poland today? I'm referring to like the fact that we still have communism today. I mean, maybe not communism, but people who are still have socialist mentality. So how did we end up with those people?
I think that at the beginning of your speech there was a key to regain Poland, and it was the gospel of Jesus Christ. So we are on this ground, on this base, and we have even in the graphic way that mega church is. Of course, it's not a big place with 20,000 seats, but it's a body which is constructed on 4 pillars: the church, the local churches, the media, social media, and we have modern media. university education of our future elite and biblical political parties. So it's our plan for regaining Poland from communism.
Wow, so it's like a blueprint.
Yeah.
It is blue.
Very good.
Yeah, and
That's really exciting. I'm glad that you guys are doing things that are very
hands-on.
Yeah, so you can
Practical.
see it literally.
Application.
It can come, you know, you can get a visual, you can get a feel for it. Without that, you know, it reminds me of not just a blueprint, but when people go to construct a building, they build models. And that to me looks like a model that people can look at and say, okay, this is how we can make this happen. That's exciting.
In this article, Arthur Thompson wrote that freedom fighters are still in Poland, and I think it is important to know that communists killed our intellectual elite during communist time, during Second World War, but there are still people in Poland who love of freedom, and Arthur Thompson said that he saw these people in July 2017 during our meeting conference
yeah.
In Warsaw, and for us his words was so impressive in this article.
They really were, because you guys, and we had mentioned this the last time we were on your show, but you give us hope, because we do see in Poland, there's just something in the spirit of your freedom fighters and your patriots that is very concentrated. It's very real. It's very felt. And I'm really glad that they showcased that in the article, because I can understand how them just being around you guys, that would shine so brightly. So I'm really glad that they included that, because it is, you guys you're a beacon. Poland is a small country, but the heart of the people is really encouraging to see the patriotism. It makes us all want to be patriotic.
You can knock Polish people down, but they'll just keep coming. They'll just keep getting back up again.
Exactly.
And we are able to sacrifice for others. For example, our soldiers were fighting in Great Britain, in France, for freedom. And I think now also Poles are ready to fight for freedom.
So how can we, I was hoping to maybe give the girls and our viewers some idea of maybe the scale of, not necessarily the stuff that we do, but the state of Poland, you know, the state of, I guess we can even speak about, you know, people coming to Christ. But something that stuck with me was this thing you said on last show, that you saw the march, you know, the Independence March, and there were slogans that Jesus is the King of Poland, and I can understand how a lot of Americans might see that and say, oh, you know, look at Poland, they are, you know, they are great. But do you want to maybe give us your thoughts on the actual scale and where we are at the moment? And
in this march, there were 100 people marching, but 100,000 people, yeah, thank you, marching. But I think that many of them are not a very big conscience about geopolitics and the Russian threat now, because many of these patriots were deceived by a thought that the Russia now is a guard of conservatism and Christianity. So it's difficult, because the hearts of these people are very, very warm to fight for Poland, for freedom, but there is lack of leaders, because all of these leaders are connected with Russia, and there is a lack of knowledge. So our program, everyday program, with one of the former leader of this march, has a goal to fight with this Russian propaganda and to show that there is a good leadership for Polish people.
when we were in States in 2007, 3 years ago, and Americans told us that, oh, Polish people are so conservative, but we know that it's not real conservatism, but
it's not very deep conservative. It's only deep. Declaration, not in heart.
For example, in one class in our city, less than 10% are attending to religion class, but I think young Poles are not so attend to Catholic Church, but they are still right-winged in thinking in political ways, and it's for me it's good news, and they are still thinking about good values, but they are maybe rather disappointed of Catholic Church in Poland.
The situation is very close to the time of Israel in Jesus' time, when Jesus saw these Israeli people, said that they are as a sheep without of a shepherd, and and the same is in Poland now. So we try to stand in the gap.
That's wonderful. We'll pray that your message keeps reaching people, because it seems like the Polish people are very good soil for the gospel when they are presented with the gospel, the real gospel of Jesus Christ, and presented with the Word of God, and they start reading the Bible for themselves. I think there could be great things, and we'll keep praying for Poland to get that gospel deep inside each person.
I think you hit the nail on the head when they get the word of God, which is why what you guys are doing is so important, because you're right. We were first introduced to Poland last year through the march first, and then Beata Szydło's speech that was translated into English. And before that, you guys weren't really on our radar, but after the march and after that speech, we and several of the other channels that are like ours were greatly encouraged. And so it is important for us to get a little bit more of an insight. And I understand what you're saying about these people. Maybe they have a warm heart towards patriotism, but they just don't have any roots whatsoever, and they don't have any leadership. So it is important for us to understand that it's a little bit different. But like Leah said, I think also for the hope side, to bring hope to it, these people are ready, and you guys are standing in the gap. And I think that the harvest is ripe for the reaping.
Yeah, yes, of course. And you understand better why Polish people so enthusiastically came to the meeting with your president. Because we treat Donald Trump as a leader of a free world. It's true. It's not an exaggeration. It's thinking of our patriots in Poland.
We were so proud.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump went to Poland, and we saw his speech and we saw the warm greeting by all of the Poles.
Amazing.
You really can. We were taught for the past, I want to say, 10 or 15 years that the entire world hated America. And I can see that in part, and I can see why in part. But to see such a huge, overwhelming greeting, I didn't feel like that you guys were greeting Donald Trump so much as you were saying to the American people, we are family. You voted for this man. We would have voted for this man. We have a common ground. And so I think that it really is a unification visual, him going there.
Well, the stark contrast of what would have happened if Hillary Clinton were elected kind of...
I don't think she would have even gone, to be honest.
No. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are European Union puppets, and their whole deep state there. So Donald Trump is a force to be reckoned with. He is a very interesting character, and I wake up every day to see what new thing he has tweeted. It's a roller coaster ride.
When was the funeral of our president and his wife in 2010, after the catastrophe in Russia. You know
Right.
what President Obama was doing during this time?
No.
Golf.
Playing golf.
Was
Golf.
it really golf?
Yeah.
That was going to be my guess.
Golf.
I was almost too embarrassed to say that that's
Golf.
probably what it was. That's awful. Because that was a huge tragedy for any, just another world leader died in a plane crash, regardless of whether, regardless of why they crashed. Any world leader should have been there to say, you know what, this was a tragedy. We want to pay our respect. And that's just it. There was no respect there, so he couldn't go to pay it.
But in the conspiracy world, if it was a hit job, Obama probably knew about it. So why is he going to go to the funeral? I mean, like, these people are that evil.
Yeah.
You know, Angela Merkel, these guys in the European Union, the unelected bureaucrats, these people are that evil.
Speaking of Angela Merkel, do you mind if I go back and ask a question? I don't know if I heard you correctly earlier when you were talking about Germany possibly befriending the United States and Donald Trump. I was a little bit confused about that. Is that what you were trying to say, that might become a thing?
Yes, Czarek.
Yes, it is. We think that Angela Merkel now is trying to pose as a friend or as an ally of United States in place of Poland. But they will betray, of course, the states in their moment whenever they choose.
Yeah, they have played. Very well in their diplomatic game to get Poland out of the equation, because they get the fight between us and Israel going, and our politicians who lack the wisdom to, well, not just wisdom, they're quite terrible, because they're blind and they don't know the gospel. And all wisdom comes from fear of God, so they acted quite stupidly, and actually Israel acted quite stupidly as well. I can say this because I'm a Jew. So they acted like not much better than Poland. Of course, Poland has more to lose than Israel, because they have the support of Christians, just because they're Jewish,
Right.
but. Poland really acted stupid, and this conflict that started between Israel and Poland caused Poland to also the silent coup that happened with Morawiecki, the current prime minister, and getting rid of Beata Szydło, when they gave her flowers in the afternoon, and then in the evening she was thrown out. And and this is actually a good example of how Poland is viewed and what really is happening here. Like our Minister of Defense, Antoni Macierewicz, he was the best performing minister in the current law and justice government, and he was thrown out and replaced by this, by Błaszczak. So he's the best performing minister, and he's getting thrown out. That would be like, I don't know, that would be like maybe not Donald Trump, but like, I don't know, Mad Dog Mattis would be thrown out after, laying these blows to ISIS and the achievements he had so far. It's like, it just doesn't.
I'm feeling it for you. I'm feeling it. I mean, I had viewers before we were even on your show. I had people tweeting me out when Beata was taken out. They were like, what is going on here? Why is this happening? We all love her now. After her speech, all my viewers were like, I love her. What happened? What's going on in Poland?
And then it was really interesting, though, because I had it coming from both sides, from our Polish viewers. I was getting messages from some of our Polish viewers saying, oh, it's fine. It's no big deal. This isn't anything to take note of. And I'm sitting over here scratching my head going, I don't feel that that's the truth. It can't be. I may not be in Poland, but I can't take every Pole's word for it. In my gut, I just knew that it was a really bad thing.
She was taken down because she took a hard stance against the EU.
Yeah.
That's from what I can understand.
You may see a proof, what we have said, that now there is a crisis between Britain and Russia. The speeches, talkings between President of United States, Prime Minister May, and Chancellor, not Hitler,
Merkel.
but how Merkel, Merkel, and there is no Polish Prime Minister. We are not the first ally of United States in Europe now. We have said few months ago about it, and you have approved now.
Right. Yeah, it is. What's going on with Theresa May and Russia it's something to look at for sure. To be very, I don't know. I kind of feel like they're trying to start something, in my humble opinion, and I could be completely wrong here, but Hillary Clinton was supposed to be elected so that we would go to war with Russia.
Right.
And it almost feels like, okay, well, that's not going to happen now because Donald Trump is in office. And so they're trying to turn to the next best thing. Okay, maybe we can get a war with Russia started with the UK. I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. Either way, I think it's really interesting what's happening right now.
Yeah, we were on the brink of nuclear war with Russia with Hillary Clinton being elected.
And that was the goal.
It was not pretty. I mean, people were talking about it here all the time. I mean, I know you guys have your own issue with Russia, and I get it. But in the United States, if I hear Russia one more time on the news,
Yeah.
I am going to go insane.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's Russia, 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 Russia. We have a Russian hysteria here that is beyond it's insanity. And whether it was
Vladimir Putin really wanted Donald Trump elected. Fact. It's just true. He wanted Donald Trump elected. He did not want Hillary Clinton elected. Outside of that, I don't care. I wanted Donald Trump elected too.
This one, there should be.
You think I'm wrong?
There should be a hysteria about Russia, but in the United States, it's directed in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
They say that Trump is a friend of Putin or whatever, when it's totally wrong. You say that Hillary wanted war with Russia. I think she would be a friend of Russia, just like Obama was. And that if Hillary Clinton
that
won...
wasn't what she ran on in her campaign speeches here. In her campaign speeches and when she was talking with Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton, here's our whole thing with the Fusion GPS and the FISA memo and all this stuff. Hillary's whole idea was to set up Russia.
Yeah.
To take a fall. And it's all pieced together with the FBI, Obama, Fusion GPS. That's what's our big news right now. Is that the Democratic National Committee, Hillary Clinton, Obama, they needed an insurance policy against Donald Trump. Now, whether Russia has done anything, whether Russia is good or bad doesn't matter right now, because the point is that Hillary Clinton's whole shebang, if you will, was to try to pin this Russian collusion on Donald Trump and to take him out of presidency. And when she was on that stage debating Donald Trump, she said, I want Russia to know what our nuclear time is so that they, because they're
America.
To fear America, because we know that they have interfered in our election. And the news cycle in the United States has not stopped with this Russian collusion, how bad Russia is, Russia and Putin and Russia and Putin and Putin and Russia and Russia and Putin. I mean, seriously, it's 24/7.
When all of our evil mainstream media outlets are saying the same lie over and over and over again, like my mom's always said, then the opposite is true.
Right.
And so that's from the American standpoint. Most Americans would actually agree with you. They would, because they've bought into this media. I'm not saying that Russia is a saint. Please trust me. Russia has a lot of evil dealings, and they're definitely not an ally. But that being said, they're trying to pin everything on Russia because it's their own corruption that they're trying to avoid being known, and they're using Russia as a scapegoat.
Even if they're guilty, even if Russia's guilty of something, they're trying to pin their own crimes on Russia.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like you've got a gang member trying to pin another gang member on their own murder.
But it may be, but our view of geopolitics is that Russia and China now are the empire of evil empire, as Reagan said. Russia with China, or China with Russia. China
with
is
Muslims.
now much stronger, along with Muslims, along with Pope Francis, and they didn't want Trump to win. Maybe they wanted before they know them. Maybe they thought he is different, but now they are scared of him. Putin is scared
Very
of Trump.
interesting. The Russian people, a lot of them wanted Trump to win. I saw interviews. I mean, I saw a lot of Russian people. There were bikers for Trump. So I really think that Russia has a division between its people and its leadership. And under communism, you have a ton of corruption. So it's split in so many different ways. Yes. I watched RT for most of our election, and they were pro-Donald Trump the entire time. They were they were ripping Hillary Clinton one side up and down the other.
Think about it.
They were pro-Donald Trump.
Think about
100%.
What Americans think if Russia supports someone? If Russia supports someone, we don't support them, yes? Most Americans, what would think if Russia support? If Putin gives someone his support, what will Americans do?
Against.
I think they will go against, and they know that.
You need to mention that Russia and communism is so clever as devil. You mentioned about some devil's abilities, and communism are very close to the Satan strategy to deceive. And President Putin is a KGB officer, a killer of KGB. So it's very, very pure communist in his mind, because an officer of KGB was whole-heart communist. It is obvious, and he still is. They pretend to be a democratic state, but you need to remember that what is the goal of communism? The goal of communism is to conquer the whole world.
Right.
The whole world. There will be no place for freedom in communist plans and eyes. So we need to remember that. And in China, there is a communist party, not a free market party, but a communist party. And China is a close ally to Russia. And Russia is a communist country too. And
I got to tell you, I got to tell you, communism in China right now, their vision is to take over the world. They have bought Hollywood. They put Chinese heroes in all of our movies. China believes that China is awesome and should be ruling the entire world, and that is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. It's very scary. I think that I personally am way more fearful at this point of China because of what China has already done. I can see China in my country. I can see them taking over textbooks, taking over Hollywood. I can see communist China as almost trumping Russia as our threat at this point.
But Russia, but Russia is a close ally of China. Very first one to China. And the last observation from our history with Russia, communist Russia, is that as a deceiver, Russia has it's a very straight rule to understand Russia. When Russia talks about peace, and that she's friendly to the whole world, it's obvious that Russia is ready to fight, ready to war. They talk, they talk something opposite. They do, and now Russia talks about war. That he is powerful. You may listen the President Putin speech. I think two weeks ago he made a speech.
A few days ago.
He made a speech about we are ready to war. Nobody will stop us and so on. Something this stuff, and it's the obvious sign that Russia is weak now. And President Putin only make an impression of his strength, power.
Propaganda.
Yes, it's something, a kind of disinformation. So it is the time for the President Trump and the Western world to push very strongly to Russia, and it would collapse.
And of course, just to interject here, when we speak about Russia in terms of like the political actions that we take, we always speak about the government and not the average Russian person, which are quite miserable. They live in in poverty. They drink instead of, they don't even have money for alcohol, so they drink like ridiculous stuff. So we feel sorry for those people. And
we actually went to Russia after the wall fell in 1995. Our uncle started Procter & Gamble in Russia. And we spent 2 weeks in Moscow. Our aunt is Russian. Our cousin's Russian. And so we have a little bit of an insight into the minds of the everyday Russian people, having, relatives who are Russian and been there right as the wall fell, and how the average Russian person, there's two mindsets. There's literally two mindsets.
Yeah.
Half of them loved and still want communism. And half of them want Christ and Christianity and freedom. So you have this, you have an internal struggle within Russia as well. And so our heart goes out to the people who are just trying to get by every day, that want to know who Jesus is, who want to grow good food. They want to be good farmers, want to be organic farmers. So there's two sides to this story with Russia. And when communism fell, those guys didn't go anywhere. They're all still there, right? Yeah. So all this leadership is there, all the corruption is there. I mean, when you got pulled over by the police, you didn't pay a ticket. You paid $50. You get pulled over by.
Well, you didn't get pulled over by the police. You got pulled over by the military.
Well, and in the city, you got pulled over by the police. And the outskirts, you get pulled over by a tank with guns. Don't take a picture. I mean, it's a really scary situation. That communist Russia, but the people, the everyday people, the farmers and things like that, who are just trying to live their lives. You guys are experiencing it on a different level. I mean, your whole world has been destroyed because of communist Russia. I mean, the essence of Christianity, what you're talking about right now with the people who don't know the gospel, they don't know the gospel. And one of those reasons is communist Russia comes in and destroys your educational system, burns the Bibles, takes away any knowledge of Jesus Christ. But there are Russian patriots as well. And I want to just to encourage them as well. We want to encourage anywhere where there's a fire, like there's Christians in China. So wherever you see a fire of Jesus Christ, you want to encourage it. Yeah. So I would, and I will take it into account that Putin is an enemy to the world and could definitely be a double, triple, quadruple agent, and things like that. But from an American's point of view, from a conservatives, from our patriots, the deep state has tried to turn Russia into our number one enemy through Donald Trump. And they want Donald Trump to go to war with Russia. They want us to have bad relationships with Russia because they want war with Russia. That's what we see. That's what the Patriots see. That's what you see on all the Patriot channels. That's what you see everybody talking about.
But the left is pushing for war and bad relations with Russia.
Right.
There is no danger of war. Russia only pretends to be strong. Russia would like to sold fear to the Western people.
It's the second best export after resources.
Yeah. They have oil. They have oil and gas and fear to export, as said our political leader Mariam Kovarsky in our program. It's true. Don't be afraid about Russia and communism. We will conquer them very easy when we be with Christ and when we will be no fearless.
Right.
We need to be to have courage and go marching on. And about this lovely Russian people, I of course agree with the statement that there is a lot of people very poor and seeking the freedom. There is a big interest in the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we know that it is the only way to free these people in Russia and in China, because there is 100 million Christian in China now, and I hope that these people will overthrow the communists tyranny in these countries. But you need to remember that Hitler, so the Russia and Germany, for us Poles, we are close neighbors to both of them. They are the same people, the same kind of people. When there is a peaceful time, Russian will sing beautiful songs, drink vodka, love you, and so on. In the west side, Germans will play beautiful music. They will make science, and very cultural people they pretend to be, but start a war, and they change for devils. The same cultural German people, when they wear the Hitler uniforms, they start beasts. The same is with Russian people, and we experienced it a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I can't. How many millions of Russians died just under the Red Army? It boggles my mind that they sought so little of their people's lives to send that many people into a needless, heedless battle. I mean, the Bolsheviks know no bounds. They have no mercy.
Well, I think that this conversation is really interesting and productive that we're having, because the goal is for us here today to talk about the views versus the American people versus the Polish people. And you guys have the exact same thing going on as we do,
right?
Where you have what you guys are seeing versus what the rest of the Poles are seeing, and then we have what we're seeing and the conservatives are seeing versus what the rest of the American people are seeing, and then there's the differences between us and you and you and you and us. And so I think Leah and I would bow to your knowledge and experience and history with the Russian people.
Absolutely.
But we wanted you guys to see what we see from the American side, so that we can have this dialogue and hash it out and get to the truth. So for our viewers that are watching and your viewers that are watching, I just wanted to encourage them. This is not a debate. This is not Resistance Chicks think this and IPPT TV thinks this. I think it's really healthy for this specific conversation to happen, because this is an apex that we are at on this topic. I think this is a really important topic for both of our countries, and for our people to understand the truth. So I think this is a really healthy dialogue. Well, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Rand Paul even said, Russia is not our friend. However, John McCain, who we view as a traitor to the United States,
true,
sat on our Senate floor and called Rand Paul a Russian agent.
For saying that?
No, not for saying that.
Oh, okay.
But for not wanting to go to war with Russia, and for saying that Russia did not hack our election.
Right.
And for, not wanting to engage against Russia in Syria and kill more people and to try to scale things back. You're not going to get along with every country. But can you ease tensions? Can we stop the destruction? I mean, Syria has been leveled to the ground. And why? Why? It's absolutely horrific to see the loss of life there. And so, we have an internal struggle in our Senate and House.
Yeah.
And the Democrats will not stop talking about Russia. They will not stop talking about Putin. And so when my enemy, who are the Democrats, is wanting me to believe something, I know it's not the truth. So in this particular area, I have to say and you're making conflicting thoughts in my head, and that's cool, and the God will work it out. And I think we all have to find the truth, because I know for a fact that not a word that comes out of Hillary Clinton's mouth is the truth. Or we have a woman in the House called Maxine Waters. She swears up and down that Putin is the devil and that he has colluded with Donald Trump, and we got to take them all out. And so it's for most Americans, we're tired of interventionist wars. We don't want to see another Vietnam where our guys go get killed for nothing. We don't want to see Libya destroyed again, like under Obama and Hillary Clinton. We don't want to see Syria destroyed and us funding ISIS. So most patriots are coming out of the war on terror that George Bush started that killed 1 million people in Iraq.
Which is really interesting because the neocons are always so quick to jump to war.
And
so a lot of conservatives have been historically known as wanting to be war hungry.
And to support our troops.
Right.
And we're waking up. The patriots, the libertarians, the Jack Posobics, the Mike Cernoviches, we all kind of congregate on Twitter and we talk these things through and we hash these things out.
But like I said, we do definitely appreciate
that Russia is a real threat to Poland, and you still have communism
and to the rest of the world,
and to the rest of the world. Absolutely.
Yeah. You can give a thought to the idea that may be Russia's plan, that you will be tired of hearing about Russia against USA, about fighting with Russia, and when you get tired, you won't do anything.
Or when we talk about Russia.
As in Syria, the destruction of Syria is the result of Obama's decision of withdrawing from them and letting Russia do what they want. It's Russia who destroyed Syria, not America.
Yeah.
Interesting, because the patriots over here, the way we see it is that our government funded ISIS and created ISIS, because it's well-known fact that the Free Syrian Army, there's videos out there of beheading children. The Free Syrian Army they're not the good guys. And a lot of the weapons went into ISIS, and that the ISIS actually was created by John McCain, one of our bad guys, to create a war. When I look at Syria, I see 4 different sides. You know, Saudi Arabia went in, Qatar went in, you have Israel over here, you have Russia over here, and all over oil and pipelines, and the United States went in to try to overthrow Assad. And you might have some bad regimes. You might have some bad people. I'm not saying Saddam Hussein wasn't a great guy, but should we have killed 1 million people? No. Gaddafi, was he a good guy? No. But now they're selling slaves in Libya. You know, you got Hillary Clinton saying, we saw he died. That
she laughs
we
about
have documents in the United States that the CIA wanted to overthrow 7 countries in 5 years and create instability in the Middle East because we live on oil. That's it. We have to have oil. And so we have to create these Middle East wars. And that's one of the angles that
But as far as Russia having this as a plan that we would get tired of hearing, if that is the case, then you are correct. And they are just friends with all the Democrats. They're completely friendly with the Democrats, and it's a big ruse, whatever. And they're playing an intense deep state game.
Double, triple agent things that even the Democrats don't even know they're being played.
And the MSM, mainstream media, CNN people don't know that they're being played either, because they are definitely very fervently believing the line that they are giving about Russia. So I'm definitely willing to entertain that thought. However, it would be a very
above
huge,
my pay grade to have that double, triple agent thing. That would throw my mind for a loop.
Well said.
I think
I gotta tell you,
much more simple than that, and I think it might be actually a good material for our next show. We can go into that in more details, because it's quite it's a lot to talk about, and we talk about it all the time on our show. And there's definitely it's actually much clearer than that. And I think that's part of the idea that Russians are playing with, is that to confuse people, that there's triple and quadruple and different layers, and you don't know who is who. But actually, it's quite easy, and we will be very glad to to discuss that, how easy it really is. And it's all
and if you could also put that into English, we would watch your show. Or I think a lot of people would. And so that's what I like about Make Poland Great Again. So that we can actually get your information. Yeah. I sit there sometimes and I turn on the show and I'm just trying to make it out, get a feel for what you're saying, because I have no clue. So we would have more information. And so I really want to encourage you guys, and I want to thank you for doing Make Poland Great Again.
Absolutely.
So that we can get this information that you guys have in English. There's no other way that we're going to get it.
We will try.
Sounds good. So we gotta wrap it up for today, and I think it's a good idea to do the next show about this whole supposedly complex topic, which we think is quite simple, really.
Yeah.
We would enjoy that.
There is empire of good and empire of evil.
There's only two sides.
I like that you whittle it down to being that simple.
Yeah.
It is. It's very true.
Yeah. Okay. So any other thoughts?
Very big discussion and many thoughts. So we will be.
Yeah.
I don't know. We will sleep well after such discussion.
Well, listen, thanks again for joining us. It was a pleasure as always, and a great honor to be with you. And yeah, so we'll wait for the next one. And thanks again for your viewers that joining us, and for our viewers. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. You know, if we don't talk these things out and we don't, get the information out, how do you get information out? You know. So there's only so much that we can learn by reading articles. You've got to have people on the street. You have to have people in the know. So I appreciate you taking the time to educate us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Both sides.
Likewise. All right. Thank you very much. Our guests today were again Michelle and Lee in our studio from Resistant Chicks. In our studio with me was Pastor Paweł Chojecki, Cezary Kłosowicz, and Kornelia Chojecka. My name is Ivan Belostenko. This is Make Poland Great Again. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.